All right, y'all. This is my first day at trying to learn piano. So yeah, I've been wanting to learn piano for quite a while. I used to take piano lessons, but that stopped when I was younger. So something I've been wanting to do, and yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. I have a video here. I don't know if I'm gonna continue to go with this video, but if I like it, then we'll continue to go with this guy. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Your first lesson. Okay. Can you hear that? From the ground up? Yeah, you can hear that through my microphone. 1 second. 1 second. It'll all probably just be coming out of one thing. I think that's it. I'm gonna have to delete that. That's kind of messing things up.
That's going to give you everything you need to know as a beginner student. Starting off at the top with the most basic things, you're going to have to know about the music alphabet first.
Yeah.
And the music alphabet goes from A to G, and it repeats. So it's going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now here is where that comes into play.
Okay.
This is the piano keyboard. As you can tell, there are black keys and white keys. And I want you to pay attention to this particular aspect. There's a group of 2 black keys, and then 3, and 2, and 3, and 2, and 3, pretty much all the way up at the piano, except the first one, it actually begins with 1. But the point is that you can figure out any note on the piano, A, B, C, D, E, F, or G, depending on their relationship to the groups of 2 black keys or 3 black keys. For instance, C is always going to be directly to the left and below the group of the 2 black keys. So here's a C. Let's find a few more. There's a C, there's a C, and there's a C. And the C right in the middle of the piano is called middle C.
Middle C.
So going from C, the note before C in the alphabet is B. Right? What's before B? A. And you would think, what's before A? Well, if you go back all the way around, that's Z, right? No, this is actually the note G, because remember, it goes from A to G and repeats. I said it would come in handy, and it has. So anyway, here are all the C's on the piano. If you want to find all the D's on the piano, they are in between the group of 2 black keys.
Okay.
So just take a second and find all the D's on the piano. They are
okay. So these are my C's. D. Okay. I'm using a smaller keyboard. So that's all I really have right now. Yeah, I'm using a MIDI keyboard, and yeah.
here, 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 and here. I think that's the last one that you can see. And actually, I don't even have any more than that. E is to the right of the group of 2 black keys.
Okay.
F is to the left of the group of 3 black keys. G is in between the first 2 in the group of 3. A is between the top 2 in the group of 3. And then B is on top. So what I want you to do is memorize where each of these notes are in their relationship to the groupings of 2 black keys or 3 black keys. For instance, what note is that?
That is,
well, you should know.
E. E. That's E. That's E.
That's E. It's to the right of those groups of 2 black keys.
Okay.
So here's a little quiz before we continue. If you can't get this question right, you need to watch the first part of this lesson again. And that is, I want you to find all of the B's on the keyboard. Try to do it on your own, but we're going to do it in 3, 2, 1. And B.
And all the B's, so that would be the one that's all the way to the right of all the 3 black keys. So this is my B, that's my B, and that's my B. Okay. Okay.
E, remember I said, was to the right of the group of 3 black keys.
Okay.
So it's here, there, and there you can't even see. It's critical that you understand this next section since it builds on what we just learned, and that is getting our hands in the appropriate position on the piano. Every song you play, you're going to have to get into a certain position. So let's talk about it. So the first position you're going to learn is called C position. And to get in C position is you take your leftmost fingers on each hand, it's your pinky with your left, thumb with your right, and you plop them on C.
Okay.
And then you plop the rest of your fingers on the next consecutive notes, and you should be able to play from C up to G and then back down to C, and that's what we call C position. A lot of the notes you play in C position are going to be C, D, E, F, G, and a lot of the first songs you play as a beginner are going to have the notes C, D, E, F, and G. So getting into C position is very important. Now, quickly, you're going to have to move on to something called G position. So you take your leftmost fingers
and put
you
them
plop
on
them on
G.
G, and that's why we kind of memorize where each of these notes are, because we can do it quickly, and boom. We are in G position from G up to D. And so what I want you to do at home is, number one, get your hand in G position.
G.
And then I want you to play what's called a 5-finger scale.
Okay.
You go from G up to D and back down. And we've actually played our very first exercise.
Okay.
So I want you.
So let's do it. G position. That one is, so if C, maybe C, D, E, F, G. And then I actually have to be a little bit closer, I think, with these, since these keys are smaller. And then we'll go here. Okay. But if I actually want to kind of feel more comfortable, I'm going to have to spread it out, which these don't have that much room. So I'm gonna just keep it how it is, actually. Just keep it how it is. All right, so G is the one, is the second one in the 3 black keys, in between the 3 black keys. So hold on, that didn't sound right. All right, let's do that again. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, now let's go back to C position and let's play C position. All right, let's do that again. Okay. All right, bet.
You do it in C position and G position. And I want you to move between the two just to get your hands moving into different positions.
All right. Now let's go back and forth then. Let's go back and forth. And then we do it again. We gotta make sure we're correct here. Actually, we're gonna have to go closer. So I actually have to bring my hands closer when I'm doing this. And then C position. Ooh, hold on. Come on. G. C. G. C. Let's do it 2 more times. Wait, that was wrong. Okay. G, 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 G. See, one more. G. One more. G. Okay.
Bonus one, because this will ready you for things in the future. We're going to do D position. But what I'm not going to tell you, at least in a lot of detail, is this one thing. And that is the middle note, F, is actually going to be an F sharp. So you're going to take F and you're going to move it one up and to the right to one of the black keys.
Okay.
And that's what we call F sharp. And we need that sharp in there because if we don't have the sharp, ooh, it sounds a bit different, doesn't it? And I'll explain later why we need that sharp.
Okay.
But you want to do it over C, over G, and remember when you do it for D, you have that sharp in the middle. What I'm going to teach you next is going to tie everything we've learned so far together. So it's really important that you get this. And then what I'm talking about is left hand and right hand on the piano and their relationship to middle C. Now, where was middle C? Well, remember, it was the first note I told you about. Group of 2 black keys,
On the left.
one and down to the left. Right in the middle of the piano, that's middle C. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that the right hand plays from middle C up this direction, and left hand plays from middle C down into that direction. It makes sense since your right hand is basically up here, and then your left hand is down there. Now, the question you have is, can your right hand play below middle C? Yes, but usually only if the left hand is further down or if you're doing some sort of finger crossings. But 95% of the time, right hand's going to be up here, left hand is going to be down here. So the section after this is going to tie together everything we've learned so far. So it's really important you get it because now that we've talked about how to get our hands on the keys, we're going to talk about how those notes correlate to notes on the sheet music. So now we're actually getting into playing and actually reading music for the first time. But first, I have a 3-question quiz. If you fail this quiz, you have to watch everything we did up until now again to make sure you get it, because all this stuff does build on itself. Are you ready? Question the first. Where is the note D on the piano? Like, where is it in relation to the groups of 2 black keys or 3 black keys?
D is the middle key in between the set of 2 black keys.
So that's your first question. I'm going to just do all 3 and then I'll give you the answers. Number 2 is I want you to put your hands in G position right now.
G position. That's the first one of the 3 black keys. Right? C, D, E, F. No, G is the second one on the 3 black keys. C, D, E, F. G, this is G. G. That's G.
If you have your piano in front of you, hopefully you do. Third question, what hand plays to the right, this way, of middle C? So here are the answers.
Right
First
hand.
question was, where's D? D's in the middle of the group of 2 black keys.
Okay.
The next is put your hands in G position. That's easy. Leftmost fingers, plop them on G. Make sure you got the right notes.
Okay.
And there you go.
Second one in
and
between
then the
the
last
3.
question was, what hand plays to the right of middle C? And that's the right hand.
The right hand.
Get it? Right
Yeah.
hand to the right, left hand to the left. Like I alluded to a minute ago, this next section is super important. A lot of students skip it and it actually results in slower, non-existent progress, actually. And I'm talking, of course, about note reading. So this should look somewhat familiar if you've seen music before. You see a lot of lines and spaces in between those lines.
Every good boy does fine, and face in between.
And actually, you're going to see two groupings of lines. You're going to see one here on the top,
treble,
and then one on the bottom.
bass.
Each staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces in between those lines. The top line in most cases is going to be played with your right hand, and so a lot of those notes are going to be from middle C up that way.
Oh, wow.
With the bottom staff, it's going to be played with your left hand, and a lot of the notes go down and to the left.
Okay.
You may notice a symbol here at the top. It kind of looks like a fancy G, and some people call it the G clef, but more commonly you may know it as the treble clef. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because I said the right hand plays the treble clef, and treble are those high up notes if you've ever played with a stereo system, turning up the treble. Bass is this bottom symbol here. It's called the
I think you guys have been able to hear it. Hold on. Yeah, you have been, right? I'm not gonna turn it on because just in case it's like double audio.
bass clef, and it makes sense since the notes going down below are bassy. For right now, we're going to forget about these numbers, the 4/4. That will come up here in the next section.
I think those are time
So notes
signatures?
on the staff can either appear on a line or one of the spaces in between the lines, and depending on which line or space it falls under, tells you not only what letter note to play, but where on the piano to play that note. For example, this note here specifically is F, and it's actually this one right here. And much like the piano, how there
F.
are multiple Fs, there are multiple Fs on the sheet music as well. And the higher up a note goes up off the staff, the higher up on the piano it's going to go. Same thing goes with the bass clef. Depending on what line or space a note falls under, tells you what note to play and where on the piano to play that note. And we'll talk more about this in a second, but this note happens to be G, and it's the G right here.
Okay.
Now, if I have this G down below, which we call an octave, it's just a G, down one, where would that be on the staff? Well, if we've made a big jump on the piano, we have to make a big jump on the staff too, and that's what this is going to look like. So we're going from here now to there. So there's a pretty big jump here. So these spaces, and what I'm trying to get at, the distances rather, that happen on the piano will translate to the sheet music. Now we're going to focus in on the treble clef only for a minute. So the key to figuring out the treble clef and bass clef notes has to do with memorizing the lines and spaces of each clef and then knowing where they apply on the piano. So here we're going to do it for the treble clef first. I've written in a note for each of the lines here, and these notes are this. It starts here with E, that's the bottom line. Then you move up to G, B, D, and then the top note is F. So what correlation has gone on here? Let's talk about it.
Skipped one.
Well, we've gone from E to G to B to D to F. And those skip every other note, right? E, G, B, D, F. And that's where the lines of the treble clef are going to appear. Now, a lot of people like to come up with sayings to remember what these are, like every good boy deserves fruit, or something like that, where the first letter of the sentence corresponds to each of those notes. And if you do that, or no matter which way you figure it out, you always have to do it from the bottom to the top, because if you do every good boy deserves, well, that's not D,
right.
that's actually G.
I got it wrong. Okay.
So if you
Bottom
go
to top.
backwards, you're going to get it wrong. Remember, bottom to top always.
Yes, sir.
And just remember that this E right here, the first one, it starts right above middle C there, and then skips. Let's talk about the spaces of the treble clef.
F-A-C-E.
Now, just like the lines where they skipped every other one, the spaces does the exact same thing, but it starts on a different note. So remember, our first note with the lines was right here, the E above middle C.
First one on the
And this
three.
F is just going to be this F right here, right next to it, except this time the first bottom line, or excuse me, the bottom space is F. The next one up is A. The next one up is C. The next one up, and the last one is E. So lines are this: E, G, B, D, F, and spaces spell face: F, A, C, E.
Okay.
Now we've got the bass clef, and now I've drawn a note on each of the lines.
Okay.
And where are they going to be on the staff? Are they going to be right here? No, because that's where the treble clef is, right? So we can surmise that the notes are going to be somewhere down this direction. And I'll tell you right now that this note right here is G. And this G is actually right there. It's actually not the first G below middle C. It's a whole nother G below that. And the reasoning is that, we'll talk about this in a minute, but middle C on the staff is actually way up here.
Okay.
So it can't be this G down here. It has to be way down there.
Oh, it's a whole
Since with
nother
the
one.
lines, we're actually going from the bottom up actually towards middle C.
Yeah.
So it goes G, B, D, F, A, or good boys deserve fruit always. If you want to come up with another saying,
Okay.
towards
We'll go back.
middle C. So it goes G, B, D, F, A, or good boys deserve fruit always. If you want to come up with
All right. So C. So C D. Wait. C D E F. So then, if I'm doing that, and mind you, I don't have all of these keys. So good. Wait. A to G. So G. Boys deserve fruit always. Okay. Good boys deserve fruit always. Good boys deserve fruit always. Good boys deserve fruit always. G, B, wait. Yeah, G, B, D, F, A. Good boys deserve fruit always. Good boys deserve fruit always. Good boys, good boys deserve fruit always. Okay. Good boys deserve. I'm about to take notes. So we got 5 lines, 4 spaces. So it's every good boy deserves fruit. Then we got F, A, C, E. And then that's the treble clef. And then we got bass, which is, let me draw these lines. Good boys deserve fruit always. G, B, D, F, A.
with another saying that works well. Just remember, always bottom to the top, and that the first G right here isn't this one, it's this one.
It's the next
Okay,
one.
now we have
So then what if we go good boys do fine always, just so I can help myself remember that, because the first one, every good boy does fine, was the one I grew up with. So good boys, let's go every good boy does fine. And then this one is face. I'll do for this one. What did I say? Good boys deserve or do fine always, right? Good boys do fine always. Do fine always. Okay. Now let's get these spaces.
The spaces of the bass clef. So probably somewhere around down here. And these notes are as follows. A, but not this one, not next to middle C. Notice how this is a bit further down than the note I showed you a minute ago. It's actually this one. So it's actually just one note above the note we started with.
Yeah.
Kind of like the lines were here and spaces were just next to it, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the bass clef.
So let me try and get this before he tells me. So G, C, D, E, F, G. Good boys do fine always. I know these aren't the right notes because I don't have them. Good boys do fine always. So then it'd be A, C, E, G. A, C, E, G. A, C, E, G. I believe so.
Lines are here, G, B, D, F, A, and then spaces is just one note up, and you skip every other note. A, C, E, G, or all cows eat grass.
Okay, I like that one. So A, C, E, G. And then he said all cows eat grass. All right, bet. Let's listen.
Okay, now we have both staffs in here. By the way, when we put both staff together, it's called the grand staff. And there are these things called ledger lines. So when notes go far below, or they go high above the staff,
that's dope.
They need these things called ledger lines to be able to tell where you are. And I don't want to get too into ledger lines right now because we will cover that in a lesson coming up here. Actually, I think the next lesson will cover the ledger lines in this series. But I do want to tell you about this. This ledger line here in the treble clef and this one down here in the bass clef are very important because they are the same note, believe it or not. And that note is middle C. And if you think about it, it makes sense since our first line of the treble clef right there is where? It's E, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just skipping from middle C up that one, and then that begins the lines of the treble clef. And then the spaces. Left hand is middle C, and it makes sense because all the other notes are down this way. So let's take this top line of the bass clef and take a look at it for a second. Okay, the first line, or the top line, excuse me, of the bass clef, remember, is G, B, D, F, A. And it makes sense since middle C, this first one is right here, this is just skipping down to the next line. So whenever you're going from line to line to line to line, you're skipping. It doesn't matter whether it's up or down. If you're going from space to space to space to space, you're skipping, just starting from a different note. Got it?
Yeah.
Good. There are three really important sections left in this lesson. One is how rhythm works. The next one is playing your first exercise on the piano. And then we are going to finish things out with what books and materials you're going to need to start learning piano effectively. Let's get on to rhythm. Okay, we have the staff again. We just saw it. And remember a minute ago I was saying, let's ignore these numbers over here. Well, the 4/4, right? Well, now it's time to talk about that since it's time for rhythm. The first thing I want you to notice, right, we're going to go back through to the beginning of this, is that music is broken up into these boxes, right?
Okay. Um, hmm. Let's keep going. I'm into it. I was gonna stop because I'm already at 30 minutes. I wanted to do like 30-minute increments a day, just so I don't get burnt out on this. Which I don't know. As I keep talking, I kind of want to do that, but I'm into it. I'm into it. Let's listen. Let's just listen.
So separated by these vertical lines. These vertical lines are called bar lines, and these are called measures. So there's measure 1. Measure 2 is right here. Measure 3, measure 4, and so on and so forth. So it's broken in these blocks called measures. I like to think of a measure actually as a box, because a box can fit a certain amount of things in it. And these things in rhythm are called beats. So each of these boxes can fit 4 beats. And what tells us that? Well, this number over here, 4, 4. The top number in a time, this is called the time signature, by the way. The top number in a time signature tells you how many beats fits in each of these boxes.
All right, so I'm going to actually write it. Let's just here. I'm going to write it on here. So let's say it's 4, 4. And you said the top number is what?
4 beats. And what tells us that? Well, this number over here, 4, 4. The top number in a time, this is called the time signature, by the way. The top number in a time signature tells you how many beats fits in each of these boxes. This type of note, we call these note durations. They tell you how long to hold the note. This note right here is called a quarter note. It actually gets 1 beat.
Yep.
So the question I have for you is, how many quarter notes can we fit in a measure of 4, 4?
Okay,
the answer is 4. Now I have a question for you. Maybe it'll be a little confusing, maybe not, but let me write something else in and talk about it. Okay, how many beats do we have now? You may say, oh, we have 8, right? We have 4 on the top.
You got 4.
4 on the bottom, but that is incorrect.
You're just playing them both at the same time.
This is why I wanted to bring these up. When you go through a measure, there's only 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything lines up between the treble clef and bass clef in a vertical column. So if it fits vertically, they hit together, unless the editor made a mistake. But this is true like 99.9% of the time, right? So if I'm playing this measure, I'm not doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but rather it's 1, 2, 3, 4 at the same time. Boop, doot, 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 just like that. This type of note,
half note,
I guess it's right here, is a half note. A half note gets 2 beats.
Yep.
So how many half notes can we fit in 4, 4? And the answer is 2. Now question, what do we do if we have this? How many beats do we have? Well, it's still 4. Remember that the time signature dictates that no matter what.
Let me try playing that real quick. So if I'm doing that, right? C, D, E, wait, A, B, C, C, D, E, F. So that's G here. And then was it all cows eat grass? Eat grass. This is G2. Word. C, D, E, F. Yeah. So then it'll be like that. Oops, I misclicked. Wait. Okay, let me stop.
However, remember what I said. These line up in a vertical line, right? Each of them. So these are going to hit together. This one's going to hit by itself because there's nothing up top. These are going to hit together, and this one's going to hit by itself. However, that's not all. If you do that, you're going to get it wrong. Like if you do this, that was wrong.
You got to hold it.
And that's because on top we have half notes. They need to be held over for 2 of these left-hand notes. So it'd be more like this. Just like that. This is a dotted half note, and it's going to get 3 beats.
3.
1, 2, 3. Now,
Might as well just write these
how
down.
many of these can we fit in a 4/4? The answer is just one,
Yeah.
since we have 3 beats. However, what additional note can we add to this measure? You see how it's grayed out?
quarter.
That tells you there's not enough beats in that measure. What note can we add to that measure that's going to make it a full measure? And the answer is a quarter note, right? Since 3 plus 1 equals 4. So this measure is going to be played 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And actually, we're going to do a deep dive into rhythm in, I think, the 3rd or 4th lesson in this series, so stay tuned for that. We're going to go into way more detail about it then. But for now, I think we have a pretty good general idea on how rhythm works. So let's move on to the next section. So we talked about the basics of rhythm, and there's a lot more to cover
What was
in
that called?
area.
A triplet
To
note.
make it beats in that measure.
I don't think he named
we add
it.
to this measure since we have 3 beats. However, what additional note can we add to this
Third
measure?
note?
You see how it's great? Of these, can 3. It's going to get just like that. This is a dotted half note, and it's going to get
I'm just gonna put dotted half note. If it's a different name, we'll change it. Dotted, or we'll add it. Dotted half note. That.
3 plus 1 measure. We play actually in this series. Pretty good general idea on how rhythm works. So let's move on to the next section. So we talked about the basics of rhythm, and there's a lot more to cover in that
Wonder why
area,
he didn't do
believe
whole
me,
note.
since that's the second half to music, right? It's playing notes and then getting the right timing in the notes, which is rhythm. And we're going to cover that in a lot more detail in the 3rd or 4th lesson in this new beginners series. But for now, it's finally time to start putting things together and playing our first exercise.
Okay.
Okay, remember before where we were playing in C position? I
Yep.
told you to go from C up to G,
Yep.
back down to C. And then I told you to do a few others, right? I think I told you to do G.
G.
And then I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I told you to do D.
D.
Or with D, you had to make sure you had that sharp in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's the first part of your practice exercise. We're actually going to build on that and play what we call a scale. A scale is like all of the notes that exist in a key. So a key tells you like what notes to play, and it has a starting point and an ending point on the same note. So what that means is like the key of C and the scale of C major is going to look like this. You start on C, and you're going to end on C as well, and you're going to play all the white keys in between, and that defines the key of C. So just play it with one finger first, but we're going to build on that, and that is we're going to add a finger technique.
C. This is the scale of C. From C to C is a scale of C, but if it went from D to D, it'd be scale of D. Okay.
The first finger technique we're really talking about here is a finger cross. So what I want you to do is play the first 3 notes of the scale with fingers 1, 2, 3. By the way, the fingers go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
from
wow.
thumb to pinky. I should have mentioned that before. Sorry
wow.
about that. But you're going to use fingers 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to cross under to hit this F with finger 1, our thumb. And then you have enough fingers to finish out the scale.
Okay. What? That's gonna be tricky. Okay. Dang. I gotta cut my nail a little lower. Hold on. Wait. Like, stop being afraid to hit it, man.
back down the other way, you'll use up all 5 of your fingers, and then you're going to cross with 3, 2, 1. So going up
Whoa.
is 1, 2, 3, and you're going to cross to hit 1 there. And it does take a little practice to get it nice and smooth.
And then wait.
And then when you get to the top, you do the opposite, where you use up all 5 of your fingers, and then you cross between F
For 3. So you go back to the middle finger. So then you go. Okay, hold on. I'm actually kind of starting to feel a little bit comfortable doing that. Hold on. About to start going crazy. All right.
and E to finish out the scale.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the left hand because it's a little different.
Uh-oh.
Left hand, you're going to put your hand in C position.
Okay.
Remember your leftmost finger on C.
Yep.
And this time, it's kind of the opposite. You're going to use up all 5 of your fingers. And then you're going to cross right here between G and A to hit 3, middle, 2, 1, right there. So just try that a few times. Like I said, it will take some practice to get this nice.
All right, so left hand now. I messed up. Let me see.
something like this, and you're like, here it is, that's okay for now. We'll get the hang of it.
All right.
Going down the other way, you do fingers 1, 2, 3, and then you cross under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
So practice that hand separate as much as you can, because we're going to put it hands together. Now it gets really tricky because what happens, I get to this third note, and I have to cross with my right hand,
but I
don't yet with my left hand. So the finger crossings happen at slightly different places. So like right here.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying it. I'm doing it. So we go. Cross. Cross. I messed up. Cross. Cross. Cross left. Cross right. Let's do it again. Cross right. Cross left. Cross left. Cross right. Cross right. Cross left. Cross left. Cross right. And then standing ovation, crowd goes wild. All right, let's go again. Hold on, come on. Right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, oops, left, right, I'm trying to do it without saying it out loud, but focusing on when to cross. All right. So if I'm gonna try and get it two times crossing without saying it, and then without messing up, but keeping a decent rhythm. Okay. All right. Let's go. I messed up. Try it again. So they cross at the middle finger, basically. So. Okay. All right. This is one. This is it. This is it. Two times crossing without messing up. Let's go. I had it. I just misclicked. One more time. One more time. Sorry. Nope. Yeah. Crowd goes wild. Okay.
Crossing with my left, but just continuing to play with my right. So it's kind of a tongue twister, but in music form. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So you come down, and then you're going to cross with left hand. You keep going with right hand, and then you do a final cross with the right hand, and then finish it out. Now, you may be asking, can I get this written down? Because it's a lot to follow. And the answer is absolutely. But we're going to talk about that in the next section with the books and things that you're going to need to practice.
Uh-oh.
Because it's all written in there, plus much, much more. Okay, it's time for the final section in your first piano lesson. And we have to talk about something really, really important, which is how do you learn the right things at the right times? And how do you make sure that you're learning things in the right order and things like that? And there's two great places to start. And actually, I recommend getting both of these because you can use them as to supplement each other, actually. The first one is picking up a piano lesson book. Highly, highly recommend this one for beginners. This is by Alfred. It's adult all-in-one piano course. It has lesson theory and technique all kind of combined into one book. The thing I like about this book, let's put these aside for a second, is that it starts you out at the very beginning. Like some of the stuff, like is just getting your hands like open and putting them on the piano. It's that basic. And even though we didn't talk a lot about this today, I still recommend reading through it since it is important. Oh, look, the finger numbers. We talked about that. Curve your fingers while you play. I should mention that. One thing I have to say about curving your fingers is some students actually overdo it. So when you play piano, you don't want to be playing like this because it will make it difficult. But you also don't want your hand like a claw because it will give you the same problem and stiffen up your hand. Okay. What you want is to just extend your fingers out like this and then just relax them. Okay. And wherever your hand naturally falls, that is your curved finger position. Your fingers naturally curve when you relax them. It teaches you how to sit at the piano. You might want to look at that for sure, where all the notes are. So a lot of stuff we talked about. But even like things like getting your hand in position and playing like your first 5-finger exercise, which we did, even builds on that. You get Ode to Joy. So not only do you get exercises, you get basic songs around those exercises, which is pretty cool. There's another resource that does that I'll talk about in a minute. I must have taken this book before.
Man.
Or something, or I must have used it with a student. I don't remember that, though.
That's cool.
It does look like my terrible handwriting, but let's continue. Anyway, by the end of the book, the point is that by the end of the book, you're playing some pretty, like, advanced stuff, at least compared to what you were playing in the beginning.
Oh, my goodness.
Things like The Entertainer, right? It would be easier to play if I didn't have this in my hand, but you get the idea, like real songs to play. So highly recommend this to start out with. I also have some courses over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. Okay. 20 courses designed to help you learn more about piano theory, how to read music. So check that out once this lesson is done. But there's more I have to tell you about. You might want to pick up a pack of flashcards from Amazon.
Oh, they got
Since
those.
not only do they have the note durations here. Oh, what is that? How many beats does this get?
2.
If you fail this, you have to watch the entire lesson over again. How many beats does this get? It gets 2.
Come on
it's
now.
called a half note. If you got that wrong, you at least need to watch the rhythm part again. Okay? And actually, if you're just starting out and this is your first lesson and some of this stuff might be brand new to you, you might want to watch the lesson again anyway. But anyway, let's continue. How many beats?
4.
Oh, I didn't tell you about this one, did I? This is a
No,
whole
you didn't.
note. It gets 4 beats, and you play 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you missed that one, I understand. And this is a dotted quarter note. It gets 1.5. That one's a little bit more advanced. But my point is you want to pick up a pack of flashcards to practice all the rudimentary things we talked about today, like this. What is this symbol?
The bass clef.
The treble clef or bass clef? It's bass clef. Does it get played with the right hand or left hand?
Left hand.
The left hand. And then they even have, they'll even give you the opportunity. I know, flashcards giving you opportunity. It's crazy. The opportunity to practice the notes on the staff. That's an F. That's an A. That's an E. And that's how fast you want to get with these. That's an A.
Oh,
eventually
that
with
was
these.
bass.
And the flashcards is going to be a big, big
Dude,
help.
that's going to be
even
tough.
Have regular cards in that. Oh, that's a picture of my
that's
dad.
a picture.
Anyway, I didn't know that was in there. That's funny. Anyway, on to the next thing. Remember earlier I was showing you the scales, and you're like, man, I wish this was written down so I didn't have to remember everything Tim's saying. Well, you want to pick up this book of scales, chords, arpeggios, and cadences.
Yeah.
It's really going to help you out, teach you the same scale things we learned today. But, let's see, go a few pages in. They have a few pages of introduction. Here it is. So now we have the key of C major. It's that exact scale I played for you written out, up and down.
Oh, really?
And yeah, you want to pick up this book. It's going to become more and more handy as you advance in your piano playing experience. And lastly, I would pick up a sight reading book. We're not going to talk a whole lot about sight reading today or at all, but it is the most, at least today, the most important skill while learning music, which is being able to read a piece of music from sight. And this sight reading book, I would start at level 1. It's called Improve Your Sight Reading by Paul Harris. This is book 6, but it starts with book 1, so make sure to get that one. So here's your very first homework assignment. I want you to get one of these books, the Alfred Adult All-in-One. There's a few other options, but I do highly recommend this one. Or courses over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. Both are good to get started so you can begin working through this book and begin learning more and more about piano. Because if you don't do this, then the rest of this lesson is just kind of a waste. So your homework assignment is to get started. That's it. You know, make a day, make a plan, make a time, say 3:30 p.m. on September the 10th. I'm going to start, learning out of this piano book and get to it. So as I mentioned throughout this video is part of a larger series I'm making for beginners to give them everything they need to know to get the best start learning piano possible. And so you want to watch all of the videos in this series. I'll put them right here for you in a playlist. And then also we're going to have a live stream follow-up to this lesson where I'll answer your questions and provide you with some more information. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Tim. Appreciate you, man. Let's go back. Get that video a like, man. We just went through
here, and I know
we just went through. Hold on, chill out, Tim. I'm talking now. We just went through our first lesson of doing piano, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna practice going up and down C major. And yeah, and then I'll see y'all when I see y'all. That was me learning the piano. Peace.